Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and today we're going to take a look at a triple changer. It's been a while since we've looked at one. This week we're going to take a look at the 1986 Autobot triple changer, the reconnaissance agent Sandstorm. But before we get to Sandstorm, I've got an amazing announcement to give to all of you. With the recent shutdown of the Transformer convention BotCon, I recently learned of a new one coming up in its place, Pete's Robot Convention. It will be held in June the 23rd and 24th, that's a Friday and Saturday, at the Cincinnati Marriott at River Center in Covington, Kentucky. Take a look here. We got some of the vendors that'll be there. AJ's Toy Chest, I Am Ratchet, Mega Toy Fan, and the TF Marketplace. And some of the comic artists. Plus also, if you happen to be at any toy shows, keep an eye out so you can get this flyer. And if you bring it with you for when you get your show admission, you can get a raffle ticket. Chance to win a Combiner Wars Generation 2 Superion set. Not bad. But of course, there's also some bonuses if you pre-register on the website, such as an early visiting to the vendor's room on Saturday, a special Friday night screening of Transformers The Last Night, and a free t-shirt. All the details are on the website here, PetesRobocon.com, so check it out. I'm definitely going to be there, so please look into it, my friends. Now, on to Sandstorm. Sandstorm was a reconnaissance agent. He was available first in 1986 with the other Autobot triple changers. He would also be available in 1987. He would be discontinued in 1988. And he would get replaced the following year in 1989 with a Micromaster set. Oops, he'll stand up for me here. Freewheeler, Tailspin, Swindler, and Road Handler, the Race Car Patrol. Get out here, guys. Sandstorm is an underutilized character in a lot of the media, mainly due to the fact that he did not make very many cartoon appearances in the series, and more often than not in the comic books, he would be killed off rather quickly. It's as if the writers really didn't want to come up with any uses for him, when in reality he's kind of an interesting character. Sandstorm's one of those that enjoys the reconnaissance work more for the hopes that he will get caught in the middle of his job and have to fight his way out of a Decepticon camp. So he is a bit of an action junkie, but I wouldn't mind sometime somebody doing a comic book story from his perspective. Get more into the mindset of why he enjoys the adrenaline rush of having to fight his way out of a Decepticon camp with his intelligence data. We'll take a look at his articulation. Excuse me. And unfortunately, because he's a triple changer, he's pretty limited on what can move on him. The shoulder rotation is blocked from the back because of the wheel, but his arm can be moved in that direction, which is totally unnatural. But he does have a hinge here at the elbow, so you can get a few different firing positions with his gun. Here, I'll show it with the other hand. It's got the gun in it. Raise it up about that far with the gun, or he can point it straight down. And there's also joints here at his ankles, so you can move his feet down. Unless you're suspending him from something up in the air, he's going to look kind of silly. And before we get on to other things, we should point out that apparently there is a variation to Sandstorm, and it would be at his feet here. The feet are either in a metal, or made either of metal, or they're made of plastic. This one is obviously the plastic version, so this would be the later version of the toy. Sandstorm was also a popular name at Hasbro because it was also used in their G.I. Joe line, but not as a action figure character, but as one of the animal mascots. Sandstorm, right here on the right, is a coyote, the animal sidekick to the 1991 version of Dusty. So, take that as you may, and you can debate whether either one of them goes chasing after Roadrunners. Now we'll start with transforming him, since he's got two modes to go through. We'll start by, we remove his gun. The next you will take his hands and fold them up into his shoulders. Then we'll grab the tail fin here above his head and just fold it straight out. Next we rotate the shoulders down like this. And we're going to fold down his feet and push them inwards to secure them. And then now, you slide, grab his chest area, and you slide it down. Sometimes it's a little stiff, folks, so bear with it. And then you will rotate his head all the way around. Then we'll push the chest unit back up, and then push his legs in. Then all four of his wheels, you'll just grab them, fold them up, and snap them into place. Oops, this shouldn't have been moved up. Shift these back so we can get that back into position. That's right, these are supposed to stay down, and then slide the feet in. Sorry about that. And then we turn him over. Grab the tail section, fold it all the way back, snap it in place. Rotate the shoulders again so that they are facing this way. Show you here with this one. Sorry about moving him down below. And lastly, pop up this black section here and fold out all of the rotors. Try to get them as straight as you can. And then, there you have it. This is Sandstorm's aerial mode. He's a helicopter. More specifically, let's see where to put those notes. More specifically, Sandstorm is a Sikorsky S-62 amphibious transport helicopter. Moving back a little bit. Just the camera. So, kind of looks a little big and blocky, but it's at least a little bit different compared to many of the other helicopters that we would get out of the Transformer line. Unlike his buddy Springer, at least he's a realistic helicopter. In case you're wondering, yes, the rotor does rotate. Just unfortunately, with kind of how loose the individual rotors are, it doesn't really do it too well very fast, but it gets the job done. Oh no, it's not a bad toy. Now to move on to the other mode. Obviously, the first thing you're going to do is fold in all 4 of the blades and press the unit back down into place. Grab the tail section and fold it over, just like that. Then you'll turn the toy over, fold down all the wheels, snap them into place. You also got to rotate the shoulders down here so we can get the back wheels down. The back ones, you really got to make sure they're snapped in. And these whole side panels where his arms are, you just fold them down so that you can see this orange running board. And then, of course, pull out the engine and push the cab unit all the way back. Fold down the tail rotor. Just fold down the orange tip of it, and there's his other alternate mode, a sandrail style dune buggy. And I'm no expert on dune buggies, but it's not too bad. I mean, could be worse. I mean, this side's the bad side to look at it, because, I mean, the little tiny tail rotor from the helicopter is plainly exposed. So it's kind of, if there's a real downside, it's that. You really don't get that hidden on him. And, of course, there's also no shock absorbers or anything like that, so there's no spring in him, but even with the extra stuff hanging on the bottom, hanging underneath of him, from the rotor blades and such, he does roll pretty good. Probably not as good on a lot of the off-road driving that you would suspect this vehicle could handle, but doesn't do too bad. Moving right along, let's take a look at his lone accessory, and that is his gun, what the instructions describe as a sandblaster gun. It's more or less your standard ordinary gun, nothing real fancy about it, except for the nice rather long barrel. Almost reminds me of the E11 Stormtrooper rifle that you see in Star Wars. Here's the gun from the other side. Kind of nice that it has this little rail on top. Almost harkens to mind some other large guns and rifles from science fiction. Almost brings to mind the M41A pulse rifle from the Aliens movie. At least the sense of the handle. The rest of it, not so much. But credit where credit's due. Alright, now moving right along, we'll take a look at Sandstorm's instructions. And I've got 3 different ones to show off. This right here will be the American instruction book. As I show, going from the dune buggy that he'd be packaged as into the helicopter. And then finally from the helicopter into the robot. Put them around here over and under the table. And back we go again. Wanted to have such a rather more complicated vehicle hiding inside there. He's really pretty simple. Oops, hold steady here. Now we get to the stickers. Sticker wear, as you can tell on Sandstorm, is something to always be concerned about. Especially these down here on the legs, since they do get rubbed up by the shifting parts. And then, of course, over here, we got the proof of authenticity, the rub sign, advert for the robot points, and, of course, the tech spec area, which they were still using Blue Streak, despite the fact that Blue Streak was taken off the market in 1986. For the tech spec graph. As I said, I got a couple of others to show off. Like right here, we have the Canadian version. And since there, it's more or less going to show off the same things. We'll just give it a broader glance. Mainly so I don't bore you all in the seeing the same thing all over again. Just run through here on the top. You can see the instructions are more or less the same, but as you can see, I take that back. This ain't the Canadian version. This is a European version. Because as you can see here on this close-up here, for the proof of authenticity, we have 4 languages. So this would be a Western European version. So we have here what looks like English, French, Spanish, and German. So if there's one thing we all have in common, we all love Transformers. And of course over here, instead of having the 3 different things, just has it as the one for reading the tech specs. Of course, this has been damaged by some of the other owners in its time. Of course, interesting to point out is that this one has a trademark year of 1985. Whereas the US one down here has 1986. So, very, very interesting. Plus, we also got the reissued classic one from Europe. And this one is only in 2 languages. What appears to be French and German from the reading in here. And again, the instructions on how you change him really doesn't change from the other versions. The biggest thing to take note of is that, unlike on the last one, you can see there is nothing here talking about the rub sign, because these reissues were put out in the early 1990s. By then, the rub signs had been removed from the Transformer toys. But you also have the tech spec. Rules out the use of the decoder, due to the fact that by then they had taken the decoder graph off of the Transformers and were using bar graphs. I mean, I can't really make out which toy they're talking about there, but when you see the shoulder there, that's the left shoulder, it looks like there's a door back there, so it still looks like Looks like blue streak still. Shift it up there a little bit and let you guys take a good look. Yeah, I'd say they were still putting blue streak on here. For a guy very few people seem to remember too well, he was pretty popular on the instruction manuals. Alright, moving right along now, we have the American version of his tech spec. This is the only one I got, folks, so... And here we got a picture of him that would have been on the front of the box. Always like how there seems to be more posability on the picture than the actual toy, as he's got bending knees on the picture, but his knees don't bend. It's done up in red to show he's an Autobot, and even indicates that he is. It gives his name as Sandstorm, and lists his function as reconnaissance. His motto is, "When the smoke clears, I've cleared out." Always takes death-defying risks. Anything less than dangerous is boring to him. In battle, gets close enough to count the bolts in Decepticon armor plates. As helicopter and buggy, he's adept at using rotors and exhaust to whip up blinding clouds of dust and sand. Extremely maneuverable. Carries sandblaster gun that shoots streams of silicate particles that can erode anything. So more or less, he causes rust on other Transformers with his gun. Take that as you may. And we'll put the decoder here over the graph, and we'll take a look at his stats. It shows his strength as 7, his intelligence is 9, his speed is 6, as is his endurance and rank. His courage is 10. That should be obvious from the risks he takes. His firepower is 6, and his skill is 9, so he does have the skills and enough adequate strength and speed and brains to do his job. So now we get down to, what do I think of him? Sandstorm's an interesting character. The biggest fault in him character-wise is that he is an action junkie. And as such, since being involved in high-stakes, life-and-death situations might make him a better agent in some cases, but it also increases the odds he's going to get blasted. Since in a lot of cases, spies are not always taken alive. As a character in a lot of the media, I think Sandstorm has been underutilized way too much. By having him as an action junkie, it would make for some interesting stories. Drop him in behind enemy lines. It'd be nice if some of the publishers would do a story like where they drop him behind enemy lines and he's on his own to gather information. It would be interesting to get something from his point of view, and it would probably allow us to better understand the character more. As a toy, he's not too bad. I mean, granted, there have been worse triple changers and multi-changers that have come in the years since he was released. But there is the thumbs up to Hasbro for the innovation, well, Hasbro and Takara, really, for the innovation of hiding the large rotor blade inside him when he transforms. More often than not, on these robot toys, when the alternate mode is a helicopter, the large rotor is either totally removed and then kept aside for no reason or purpose whatsoever, or it's just left on there and it sticks out like a sore thumb. So really, the idea of being able for him to hide the large rotor blade, that's a definite thumbs up on that. Now, unfortunately, as a consequence, they hid the large one, but the small one is always visible no matter what. So, kind of take the good with the bad on it. As to where I would place him, I think Sandstorm definitely belongs in the middle tier. but I should lean him a little more towards the upper tier, because he has a lot of untapped potential that could be exploited in future media, preferably in some of the tie-in comic books that are being done currently, instead of in the Michael Bay live-action movies that seem to be universally hated by Transformer fans. But then again, I don't think Michael Bay would understand the concept behind a triple-changing Transformer. Sandstorm's a decent figure, and with the low amount of accessories that he has, he's an easy one to pick up on the secondary market. Big thing you just gotta watch for is a lot of the damage on the stickers, and you'll want to keep an eye on the rotor blades, since, like all of them, they are made of very thin plastic, so they can be stressed pretty easily. And that concludes my review of the Generation 1 Autobot Reconnaissance Agent Sandstorm. If you like the video, please thumbs up it here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Like and post comments on this video. That's what helps keep this channel running. This is Sparks1701 saying I will catch you all later.